welcome back. Your dreams were your ticket out. Welcome back to that same old place that you laughed about. Well, the names have all changed since you hung around, but those dreams have remained.
Welcome back. 3 Guys, Many Games 2026. How about it? How about it?
Happy New Year!
Happy New Year, everyone out there. I'm your host, Steve Sombrato. I'm with my brother, Vince Sombrato, and Smalls, the legend of Levittown, Bobby Smalley. And I told you, I warned you we were coming out hot this year, 2026. Did I lie? Did I disappoint? We have the legend with us, Coach John Tillman of Maryland. Let's hear it, John.
We say legend very loosely.
Listen, we've been so excited to get the season started, and it couldn't get started better with one of our great friends in lacrosse, and obviously the mainstay of the #1 team in the country from Maryland. We're really excited to have you here. I know you're excited. This is probably the biggest show you've ever been on, in the last 5 years.
I've been nervous all day.
Well,
That's pressure. That's pressure.
I'm going to start by, for the fans, if they don't know, got to give a little
Let me do it. I'm ready
for
Coach.
Oh, he's ready. Okay.
Ready?
Go
ahead, Vinny. Go ahead, Vinny. He's a man
checks.
who needs no introduction, but I'm going to give him a big introduction because he deserves it. So I'm going to give you a little background to Coach Tillman, and here you go. So I'm going to start where he is right now at Maryland since 2010. He's had 2 NCAA championship teams, 2017 and 2022. The 2022 team was 18-0 and was the all-time points, goals, and assists in a season. It was their first championship at Maryland since 1975 when he won in 2017. He's been to 11 Final Fours, 9 national championship games, has 195 and 56 career record. I'm sure he'll get to 200 wins this season for a 78% win percentage while playing one of the most difficult schedules in the country year after year. So that's amazing in itself. 5 Big Ten regular season titles, 4 Big Ten titles, playoff titles, NCAA best 34 wins since 2011. Maryland, he's part of this, 22 consecutive seasons with double-digit wins and NCAA appearances. He's coached 95 USILA All-Americans, 27 Scholar All-Americans, 3 Tewaaraton winners, 3 seasons at Harvard where you were the head coach and brought that program up, 12 seasons at the Naval Academy, 6 years head coach. A Corning, New York native. We don't forget your upstate roots. You're a Cornell grad playing for the great Richie Moran. And recently, a 2025 Hall of Fame, IMLCA Hall of Fame inductee, Coaches Hall of Fame. Your community activity where you're involved with Team Impact, Travis Manion Foundation, and the Brendan Looney Foundation. So I have one question. What have you done for me lately?
It just goes to show, have good players, have good staff, surround yourself with really smart people and good players. A lot of good things probably happen, right? Try not to screw it up.
Well,
do you get excited? I know you're starting tomorrow. Tomorrow's your first day, right, of practice?
Yep.
So is it feel new? Is it different every year, or do you feel pretty much the same at this time of the year? You got your routine down of how you like to put your team, through the progression of the season.
There's always, you kind of there's a little bit of a break around the holidays, which I think is well needed for everybody. Kind of catch your breath, just focus on friends, family, the holidays, all that. And then when New Year's hits, you kind of realize like, okay, it's coming. So we typically don't do a lot during the holidays as a staff, but right after like New Year's, the first day of practice you're allowed is the 7th. There are some small exceptions. I think like Navy's now back full time in their second semester, so the NCAA has all these different rules. So there are a few people that have started up and can do that, but for most of us in Division I, it's the 7th. So once New Year's Day hits, what we try to do is we try to get together for a couple hours every day, not too long, and just kind of get together, get each other's thoughts, fall back, kind of look back on the fall, kind of look at what we've done the last few years. What do we want to do differently? What do we think we want to do differently with this group? Strengths, weaknesses, how the fall went. So that's kind of what we've been doing, but I think everybody's excited.
Well, Vinny mentioned that you got your start in Corning, and obviously you were a guy who hit multiple colleges, which we're seeing a lot more now. So that was something that it wasn't that usual back then, where guys were going to multiple schools. Now it seems like everybody goes to multiple schools. It seems like.
Yeah, and when you look at basketball, football, it's a totally different world.
Right. And you went to Colgate first. That was your initial. What was the transformation from Colgate to Cornell? What went into that?
I didn't do a great job in high school of just with the process. I didn't put as much time into it as I probably should have. I was so in the moment of, obviously I knew college was important, but with football in the fall and basketball in the winter, you're kind of all in with what you're doing. My parents were definitely on me about, we got to figure some things out. And, it is like you're a senior and you kind of have that senior year and you're really excited about, your teams and being a senior and all that. So I'm not sure I really was ready for college. I'm a guy that picked up lacrosse late, definitely, relative to most of my peers. And I grew up playing more, baseball, basketball, football. And I definitely was on the smaller side, hadn't really fully developed. I grew more in college, certainly put on a lot more weight in college. And I could have really used an extra year, to be honest with you. PG year would have been really good for me. I was not maturity wise, like as focused as I should have been. I had great parents, a great family, but they can only do so much. So I think kind of looking back at it, when guys decide to take that extra year, I can see why they might do it. I know it would have served me well. But I didn't really know what I was looking for. Didn't really have a great sense of self. And obviously was pretty fortunate to end up at Cornell with a great tradition. Certainly kind of a strange career there, coming in as a goalie, and we had so many great goalies. Schmoles, Joey Solomon was there. Timmy Shea was there.
Wow, look at that. Now,
yeah.
I didn't know this. I know Vinny knows the answer to this question. There was another, were you playing short stick or long pole when you changed from goalie?
Originally, they gave me a pole, which I really liked. And I think a year later is when they changed it. So you went from 2 poles to 1 pole. And we were pretty deep at that position. Tony Morgan obviously was an elite long stick midi. Paulie Shea.
There was another goalie that changed to be a long pole and was terrorizing people. Todd Francis.
Yeah, right before me. And that's where I think they were like, listen, if we can find some other guys to play different positions. They certainly had some success, and he was way better than I was.
Well, I'll tell
that's
you this
for sure.
Chris Kane.
That tells you.
Chris Kane was a midfielder that Richie Moran turned into a defenseman, and he was a 2-time Schmeisser Cup winner. So that worked for him pretty well too.
And so just that opportunity, I think, realizing in high school, we definitely didn't have a lot of options, with the number of goalies that we had. So having kind of picked up the sport late, I think I tried out as a midi. My brother had played, and my skills were not great. So our JV coach was our I think our gym teacher, great guy. And he was like, "What do you think about playing goalie?" And I was like, "Sure," And obviously, it's a great challenge. I'm certainly not as good as those other guys, so it was a bit of a blessing to kind of switch positions because I certainly learned a lot, and certainly found my groove probably after college, just because I was able to settle into the position a little bit more. And just get more experience. But certainly grateful for my time at Cornell and the guys I met, and obviously being part of Coach Moran's program and part of that tradition, and being around so many great people was a blessing for sure. I certainly learned a lot, kept my eyes open, and tried to learn as much as I could. And some of that still is stuff that I'm lucky to fall back on today. And again, Coach Moran. I mentioned to somebody down in Florida a couple of weeks ago. That guy really knew what he was doing. Sometimes when you're in the moment, you're young and you don't really understand. If you get a little older and you get some more clarity, that guy really understood people. He understand teams, team dynamics, great appreciation for our country, just relationships. John Gordon will say it all the time. He'd always say teammates are forever. It's great to be here, right? Just that sense of being grateful without saying grateful, just be in the moment and be grateful for everything you have. And, like he would put it on shirts and you'd kind of like go, I wonder why he does that. And now you're like, I know exactly why he does that. The guy was all about it. It's like, hey, we are really lucky to be able to do things we get to do. And that's not lost on, I think, anybody that was a guy that played for him.
Well, Vinny was very close with Richie. Richie loved Vinny, and the stories of when he would be down, and he stayed in Port a lot.
Brian Conroy.
With Brian Conroy,
Yep.
He would come down and stay in Port, and we would see him from time to time. So we were lucky in that capacity. Even as he was older, we definitely got to spend time with Coach Moran, and as anytime you're around him, it's a fun time. He just had an ability to make everybody feel good, and feel special, and that's an amazing quality, that he had.
Was he
and make wherever you are the place to be?
Right.
Was he somewhat of an inspiration for you to want to go into coaching?
I think so. I always looked up to my coaches, going all the way back to Little League baseball, to, my high school coaches, guys that, you spend so much time on the field or on the courts. And they're just guys that, like you didn't want to let them down, taught you a lot about life. They challenged you. They were hard on you, but they always wanted the best for you. And they never took the love away from playing.
Yeah.
Well, now you got another season upon you. I don't know if what is this, your 15th year at Maryland?
Yeah, it gets tricky with that COVID year being in there. You lose that 2020 year because we never really finished it. So 11 was the first year, and now we're looking at 26. It doesn't seem like it's been that long, but man, it's flown by for sure.
And I don't know if you know the answer to this question. They put you as number one, in the preseason, starting the season. I know you always say, well, it's nice to be number one, but it's only worth it to be number one at the end. That's when it matters.
No doubt. So,
but it is nice to be recognized as the team that people feel, confident that you're going to be right up there. You know, obviously, the season takes shape, but it's got to make those guys almost issues a challenge to them to say, okay, everybody thinks we're this good now. You know, I mean, look at your schedule. It doesn't get easy. You know, I look from top to bottom. I was looking for some easy games here. You know, Richmond had a great one of their best year ever last year. You're coming out of the gate having to play them. Loyola was down, but is always strong. And then Syracuse and Princeton and Notre Dame right away. Now that's monstrous coming out of the gate, you know, for most people. But Maryland you guys always seem to, rise to the occasion, and maybe it makes you tougher for it at the end.
And that's the hope, right? Like all those teams are great teams, a lot of talent, well coached. So you know, we obviously when we talk to the guys tomorrow and in the meeting and kind of talk about some of that stuff is, you know, the ranking stuff really don't matter now. It's really, you know, what happens down the road. And you know, the same people that, you know, we kind of live almost in the NFL world where every week there's a new poll and you don't play well, you don't stay there long. And, you know, people have a different narrative just because of 2 hours that week. And as you guys know, human beings, some weeks we play better than others. So it's a process. And, you know, playing all these good teams will kind of reveal, you know, what are we good at? Like, where are we falling short? Where do we need to put more work in? Where are we vulnerable? What have we been doing well? So that as we go through the year, we can kind of play to our strengths, kind of figure out the ways that maybe people have been, you know, successful. So whether it's offensively, defensively, or in the special teams, like, you know, let's address those areas so that when May comes, we hopefully can be healthy and playing our best lacrosse. But those teams definitely, like, they'll expose you. So you got to be prepared every week. And I think our guys would rather play those games, play against the good teams. A lot of times it means you're going to get knocked around a little bit, you know, and you might take some L's, but hopefully you're learning and you're growing and you're just getting better.
Hey, John, I wanted to ask you, can I get a question?
Go ahead.
Maybe a little off course here, but I was reading, I got it sent by 20 different people, the top 20. Did you actually, when you looked at the top 20, did you go online and look at it? Did one of your friends send it to you? I mean, I'm sure you glanced at it and said, oh, gee, we're number one here. I mean, you look at it. I'm not saying it means anything, but who sent it to you? Where did you look at it?
I actually, one of my good friends in town is Chief Mitchell, who's the head of the College Park Police Department, sent it to me and said, Coach, congrats. And Chief Mitchell is an awesome guy, good friend. I actually had dinner with him a couple weeks ago. Teaches criminal justice classes, just a great human being. His grandson went to our camp a few years back, and you know, obviously big fan of the program, just an awesome guy. So he kind of sent it, and it kind of made me chuckle a little bit. So it's certainly something we'll talk about with our guys. I think we have a pretty mature group, and just reminding them, like, you know, that stuff's out of our hands. A year ago, we had one All-American in the preseason, and we certainly felt like we had some pretty good players, and all that changed middle of the year, end of the year. So a lot's going to happen. Certainly, you know, obviously appreciative of people having that much faith in our guys. But at the end of the day, all that'll play itself out on the field. And, you know, if we come together and play well, then we'll earn it. But right now, we really haven't earned anything.
Now,
you have a huge tradition always at these home games. I notice you have the guys running. Somebody runs out with the flag. They're always running out with the flag. How does somebody have to try out for that? Do you have tryouts for that?
Oh, yeah.
You audition for that? Like, is that something? Because, like, Smalley was talking about potentially doing this.
No,
you know, what we want to do something special for you, because we don't know. You know, it's gotta be okay with the coach if you're ever gonna do it. So you gotta really audition for him. So
hold on a second.
Show him how you could do it.
I got sent this helmet 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I forgot that Tillman sent me. I just found the bag. I said nothing ever fits me. But I don't know. Tillman was well thought out. Watch, I put
got
it
a
on.
haircut and
It did go
everything.
on,
He
but then I
even got a
started to move it.
haircut.
I got a haircut. I lost 19 pounds. Listen to this.
Get it on, Small. Get it on.
19
Yes,
pounds.
sir.
Here he
Let's
goes.
go.
Wait, he's got more.
Hold on.
He's
Let's
got
go.
more. Here he comes. He's ready. He's ready.
Here it comes.
Let's go.
Oh,
He's gonna do it. 16-0, baby.
I think we got to send that video in to the flag people and see what they say, because I think we found ourselves a flag carrier right there.
John, I lost 19 pounds. No joke. Oh, shit, I can't get
Well,
That's kind of a cool tradition that Maryland's had for a long time, running out behind the flag. And I think that's cool. You know, college sports have all these traditions, and that's something that we've embraced. I think the one thing we added was the American flag as well. The one we carry out was sent to us by Stephen Looney, whose brother Brendan we coached at Navy, and they're Maryland residents, and still tight with Stevie and
we
Billy.
met them
and
upstate, didn't we, at the house?
we was
The
at the
house,
house.
yeah.
Yep. Billy was there this summer up in Placid. So we feel like, you know, we play not only for our state, but we're obviously proud of all of our heroes, the people that fight for us and allow us to have our freedom. So just a kind of a small gesture. Hey, we appreciate all of you and all the sacrifices you make. And I think it's important for our kids to see that.
Wow,
No
it's
doubt.
awesome.
No doubt. Small, so I think you're going to do it. I think you passed the test.
Well, one of the things I wanted to ask John, when I went out for the team at Nassau, I did a 5:05 mile. So I got a couple of schools that are going to run it. I got Syracuse is going to do it. They're going to test the kids 4 times around the track. You have a couple of tracks at the school?
Yep, we got some tracks we can use.
How many times around is a mile, would you say, on one of the tracks?
Oof, we don't do a lot of track work, but I'm not sure what the size is. We do most of our stuff in the stadium, but I could find out.
No, what my thing was, I'm going to give a $2,500 gift certificate from Sports Depot. If any team can run any kid on the team, it's got to be one kid to break a 5:05 mile. That's how I made the team for Speckman. He had a thing on the wall if you won the mile. Usually it's a kid that is the best on the team, but I was a nobody. So I trained for the mile, and that's how I made the team that year at Nassau. I did a 5:05 mile.
That's unbelievable.
Oh,
I
no,
still said I had
guys
made a
can do
bet.
it.
We
People
never
can do
saw. Well, we never saw. We were talking about in the summer with the PLL guys, and who were we on with that time that we were talking to? That we were saying it. Was it Jerry? Maybe it was Jerry Byrne. And I said, how many guys in the PLL could do a 5:05 mile? I still say 0.
No,
I
no,
don't think there's one guy.
Steven, it's not track speed, first of all. It's fast if you train for it. These kids are elite now. He's got guys on his team. They're much more equipped coming into camp now, training with him that could do it. There's probably about, I would say, at least 10 kids that could do it all around the country. Not 50, maybe not. Now, it's not track speed. So if you get a kid that runs track, he's going to be able to do it. He'll run under a 5-minute mile. He'll do like a 4:50 mile, I would say. I don't know. What do you think, John? I mean,
Oof, we don't do a lot of running like that, but I mean,
would you be able to test the kids this year?
We don't really do like a conditioning test per se. We used to do all that. And even like tomorrow when we come back, we don't do a conditioning test. You know, we obviously put it on our guys to come back, and we got to have faith in our guys to come back and be ready. Just because, you know, in 10 days, we're going down to Duke to scrimmage. The concern with like a conditioning test for us is like, you know, you do that conditioning test and guys are maxing out day one and going as hard as they can. What happens if they pull a hamstring and now you're upset? A guy's out for 2 weeks because of a conditioning test. So, you know, we kind of, in talking to some of our strength coaches,
I love
it. We'll do it at the end of the year.
Listen, I love the thought process because, you know, you see a lot of teams, they put a lot of stuff into these things, and it's like you see guys really lifting a lot. And that conditioning is important. We all know how important conditioning is. And I like the trust factor that you trust guys to, you know, be accountable to the team and get themselves in condition and get themselves in the proper condition. But the risk of like you could run a 5:05 mile and you can squat 500 pounds, but can you clear the ball?
Yeah.
Do you know where to go? That's important too. So
Well, that was just a thing. But go ahead. What do you got, Vinny?
No, well,
coach,
the
yeah.
questions I had without
Really
that I
stifled for the
think
first
people
time.
are interested in. I mean, based on your success, as a fan of the game and somebody who studies the game, and when I watch games, I tend to think about how I would be coaching, what I would be doing during those games. But, I know you're meticulous in preparation. I know that. I mean, that's just a fact. And there are guys that are good in preparation. But I think, what do you think both have value, but what would you say, like, preparation compared to your in-game adjustments, because you've been kind of cutting edge in game. You're the first guy we ever saw with the iPad on the sideline, looking down and seeing something, what just happened, and you can adjust to it right away. I don't know that anybody else is doing it right now, but I've seen you do it for years. I think that has a lot of value, because I think that, we all go into a game, it's like Tyson says, everybody's got a plan till they get punched. Then what happens? How do you react to taking the punch? And I think the best coaches are the guys who have a feel for like who's got a hot hand that day, who's got a better matchup. You can figure that out rather quickly and go to your strengths on that particular day, which may not be your strengths that you thought going into the game, right? So, do you put a lot of value in being able to change on the fly like that?
Yeah, I think that's important. Surrounding yourself with smart guys. Certainly I've had some awesome coaches. The guys with me, I wouldn't trade for anybody. Jesse and Michael and Tim Obransky, like, just do such a great job. But we've had some great guys leave and go on to other programs and be successful. So obviously we were blessed to have those guys and replace them with really good guys. So when you have really smart dudes, what I've learned is, listen, be humble enough to listen to guys, hire smart guys. If they're going to bring smart things to the table, like, listen, don't put your ego aside. It's not what's best for me personally. It's what's best for the team. And also I think, empowering your guys, and when kids come off, just having those conversations, it's like, hey, Vinny, what'd you see? What do you feel like? What are you thinking out there? What do you see? What do you feel like's working? What are you guys comfortable with? Because I also think, like, the kids need to buy into what you're doing. If they don't trust it, they're not really going 100% into it. So I think empowering them and just saying, hey, we trust you guys. We're going to listen to you guys. We respect your thoughts and your eyes. And we're going to do this together. And I think that starts with just having a good relationship with those guys. It's not about being a dictator and just, this is the only way. But I do think you prepare as hard as you can, but you also have contingencies just in case things don't go well. It's like, all right, well, if this isn't going well, we need to have plan B, C, and D, maybe some set pieces, maybe change up the defense, run a little zone, whatever it may be. And you just got to be flexible, because there's a lot of good coaches out there, and they really do their preparation as well.
Right.
I got a question for the portal. This is a very big question. No, the portal. I'm not going to name any names on here because it's not right. Whatever. I might convey. So, a bunch of people are saying that you're using the portal to your advantage more than anybody now. And does that exclude players in your development stages? Are you now going to more of the portal than actually developing a player that comes in as a high school kid? Because from what I understand, you took 4 players from Yale. It doesn't seem like people are too happy about it. Some people, I'm just saying, like that.
Yeah, I think everybody looks at the portal a little differently. Certainly, if you look at what's going on in football and basketball, it's mad chaos. Everybody's situation's unique. We've been capped at 50. That's the maximum number of players that we can bring in. So the new rule that will eventually come into play and settle in is 48. But I think people have gotten a little bit of a waiver for a couple of years, but that'll eventually settle in. So I think the way we've looked at it is like, if we're going to get 50 guys, there's a few different ways we can do it, right? You can have all high school guys. You can go all portal guys, or you can do a mix. And we've kind of chosen to kind of go primarily out of high school, but then like blend in some guys that would make sense, guys that fit our culture, guys that maybe in some areas, maybe we've had some injuries, or we think guys are going to get there. Maybe they're not there quite yet. Maybe some guys have left. So for us, it's definitely been very strategic. You gotta have to, in my opinion, you have to kind of feel like if someone's going to come in for a year or two, if it doesn't work out and they don't play, that's probably not going to work out well. So you got to like hedge your bets like, okay, this guy is going to make a positive impact. Now, maybe it's playing, maybe it's as a good teammate or leader. But you just have to be smart with that. And you can't guarantee anybody anything because then the guys that are already there are going to be like, what am I doing here? You're promising people things and they haven't earned it. So I think everybody's got to earn it. The big thing we've tried to find are the guys that fit our culture. And again, I think we have those three guys from Yale, and those guys are doing a great job. So we've definitely gone usually anywhere from 2 to 4 or 5 guys, but not more than that.
So you don't wait. I thought you had more guys that you got from the portal this year than ever before. Am I wrong about that?
Nope. No more. Yeah, not necessarily. No. And I think you do have to. I think your point's well taken, Smalls. Like I do think you have to be careful of how many guys you're taking, the types of guys you're taking, because the guys, and if they don't fit your culture, they're not, guys that really buy into what you do.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that's going to make a lot of sense.
You like grooming the kid though, and the kid comes in as a freshman. You like to groom him.
Are you allowed to have? You mentioned that number 50, or if it's going to be 48. Or I know back in the day when you're watching Rudy, when you're watching the movie Rudy, and they have the team, and then they have the practice guys, and he made the roster, but they still had the practice guys that must be above whatever the number they were allowed to. Is lacrosse, are they allowed to do that, or are you allowed to have like practice guys that are around your team?
No. So, and I'd say 50, if you go back through the last few years, like 50 is definitely on the smaller side on some of the teams. We looked at the last, 3 national champions. I think some of those rosters were a little bit over 50. And again, like to me, it's just a matter of preference. Like, for certain teams, a bigger number might be better. For certain teams, a smaller number might be better. My bosses have told me 50 since I got here. 50 is your max. So that's kind of what we work with. So again, like there is definitely, I think there's some strategy to it, because to your point, Smalls, like you can't just bring in 20 guys from the portal that you're going to have for 1 year. Then you're left with 30 guys and all those guys are gone. And now you're expecting the other guys to kind of pick up all the slack. So I think, there's a balancing act to, you definitely want to keep developing your guys, because eventually their day's going to come, and you don't want to stunt that by bringing in, 20 guys that are all going to play. And then your guys are sitting around. I don't think those guys will stay. I think guys will just go somewhere else. So I think it has to make sense. I think the guys have to feel like they're good fits and they're guys they want as teammates. And so there's a lot that goes into it. I can't speak for what other people do, but that's something we've been very cautious about, because we do feel like The locker room's important. The culture's important. The type of guys, everybody pulling in the same direction. Guys are never going to see eye to eye on everything. We got plenty of Giants and Commanders and Eagles and Jets and, Ravens fans down here. So they don't agree on everything. But I think when they get on the field, everybody's got to be like, hey, this is all about the team. I got your back. And we're teammates and we're going to fight together.
Where is this team this year, right? When you look at each team, do you compare teams? You don't want to bring it out, but do you compare different teams where they should be? Like last year, you were all defense. Are you going to go a little more offense, concentrate more on the offense and the defense, or you always just going to be defense first?
I think, some years you're a little more inclined or more experienced at one end of the field versus the other. Sometimes maybe you're a little better in the middle of the field. Obviously, we had Logan here for a few years. And so, just did a tremendous job for us, 5 out of the last 6 years. But, we also feel like Brian Ruppel in one of those 6 years played very well as a freshman. And, he's got 2 years left eligibility. So we feel really good about him. So we feel like this group definitely has a decent amount of experience in all phases. So there's definitely some potential there. Last year, we were a little bit younger on the offensive end. So we definitely had some growing pains just because we were a little bit newer there. So we definitely had to rely more on the defense. But if you go back to 21 and 22, and even 20 before we got shut down, like those offenses, like they were pumping up big numbers. I think in 21, we were number 2. In 22, we were number 1. And in 20, we were definitely putting up some pretty good numbers before COVID hit. So we were definitely probably ahead of the defense those years. Logan was a freshman in 20. So we had some new parts down there. So some years you're just going to be a little bit more inclined to maybe rely on your defense. And other years you might have to put up more goals and just hope that defense grows up. Luckily, Jesse does such a good job with the offense, and Fitzy does such a good job, or Fitzy does a good job with the offense, and Jesse does a good job with the D. Usually those guys are doing a good job of preparing us and putting a good spot there for sure, even against those elite teams we're playing.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that roster of 50 being on the lighter end, and I was wondering, I'm like, Vin, how many guys did we have when we had to beat Tills and Toyota? What did we have? 13 and a half? What did we have? 13 and a half?
Yeah.
We didn't have no 50 guys. I know that.
I think we were counting coaches too.
You didn't have anybody missing practice for the electrical engineering class.
I think I ran to the box to come off, and there was nobody there a couple times. I had to run back in.
Tills,
What are you saying so the fans understand?
He had to give you a little zinger on that one. Yeah.
Hey, got to tip my hat to the champs. Got to tip my hat to the champs. Well deserved.
See, most people don't remember those awards.
Well, I'll say this much: that was a team. As far as we were, that was a team that what you're talking about, a culture and a buy-in and all of that, because you had mature guys playing, and everybody said the only way we're going to win. I mean, if we probably played you with a shot clock, you'd beat us 10 out of 10. But that wasn't the rules then. So we were able to take advantage of slowing down and doing that whole thing. But that took, not only real good players, but it took guys who were very heady. And, I think that, from watching the games that I watch with your teams, your guys do play with a maturity, which I think is a big advantage. They do play with a maturity. I think that filters down from the coaching, and I think I think part of that is confidence also. They're part of the culture of winning. I mean, you can't say, I just quoted your statistics there. You got a 75 win percentage. You win 3 out of 4 games against top competition. So I don't think your team is ever going into a game where they feel like they're even an underdog, no matter what. But, that's all part of it. I always said, on different teams I've been, and Steven and Smalls was on a national championship at Nassau. There's got to be that buy-in that no matter what level of player you are or the accolades you have, depending on that game, you might have to take the back seat if the team's defensively gearing to stop you, who might be a big scorer. you might have to take a guy out to the corner and let the guys play 5-on-5 and win the game for you, you know. And a lot of guys can't handle that kind of stuff, you know. If they're used to doing something right away, it doesn't happen.
Ego.
Yeah,
Ego kills the
it's
sport.
part of ego, but it's just a natural thing, I think, too. You know, it's just nature, you know. But I think that's a big
Well,
part of coaching.
people talk about. Yeah, I mean, people talk about the team aspect of it. Everybody could talk about it, but the result of actually doing it is another thing. You know, talking it is one thing, and guys really buying in and doing it is another thing. And usually, it's the teams at the end. And when you're at the Final Four, those are the teams that did buy in. And
You know, it's funny. Like sometimes we used to do. We
Yeah, and you hope
Yeah,
through
we used to do some clinics with some younger guys, and I used to, you know, we do a little half field maybe, and they'd make a play, and a guy would score a goal, and I'd say that was great, and the guy who scored, and I'd walk by him, and I'd say, that was really good what you did, and the kid's like, I really didn't do anything. I said, you got out of the way. You did a great job of getting out of the way, I tell the kid, you know. So I said, that's as important as what the guy did sometimes. If you didn't get out of the way, he couldn't have made that play, you know. So I think you have to get guys to understand that and buy in that those little things are what win the games. A guy who boxes a guy out when you're going for a ground ball so somebody else can get it. All those, you know, it's amazing how games come down, 1-goal games, overtime games. A guy just stepped on the crease, you know, but you won a game up in Syracuse. The kid was in the crease. He wasn't in the crease. Did he get pushed? Did he, you know, so you got to be on top of everything every second and just play it out, you know, because once you hesitate in sports, that's when you lose.
Well, and all those little things matter, and that's probably one of the values of not being a great player. Was you kind of had to figure out, like, how am I going to help the team? Because I'm certainly not going to score a lot of goals. I'm not the best athlete. I'm not the fastest guy. I'm not the biggest guy. I don't have the best skills. So what can I do to help the team win? Being part of the team's important. What's my role? And then whatever my role is, take a lot of pride in it. You know, I heard this a long time ago and I thought it was great. Like, some people are piano players. Some people are piano movers. I'm definitely a piano mover. But if you don't get that piano there's nothing for that talented guy to play. So some of us that's our job. Like, get it there and let that guy do his thing. But we all have jobs and all of them are important. So I think it's easy for me to kind of relate to those guys that maybe, you know, they're getting a few shifts a game. Maybe they're setting good picks. You know, maybe their role isn't glamorous, but it's like, hey man, there's a lot of value to that. I can relate to that because that's the role I played. And not everybody can be the guy that takes all the shots. And if everybody wants to, there's only one ball, so it's not going to work out anyway. But I think if you recruit the right guys the right way and kind of stress to them, you know, this is our culture, this is what we believe. The guys that, you know, kind of believe in the things that your program's about, you know, they come to you, and hopefully, you know, the guys can see that through the process. And it's all about getting the right guys to the right places, you know, and those kids being happy, having good experience. And hopefully as coaches, you feel like you found the right guys, the guys that believe in what you're doing, because then everybody's going to have a better experience.
Johnny, I got a good question. When you get a kid and you see he's really trying, but you see he's a little on the selfish side. How do you as a coach, do you sit him down on the sideline? You just take him out of the game and be like ticked off as a coach, or do you sit him down after the game and after the drills away and sit him and tell him, this is what you got to do. This is, you know, when you see that he's not there, he's very selfish. I'm sure you get players like that, you know, like that are not buying in, want the ball, and they should pass another pass. How do you handle that guy? Do you sit him down, don't play him, and take another guy and put him in and make him sit a game or half a game? How do you adjust in your mental to the kid? How do you get across to him?
Well, the good news for all of us, right, is it isn't just the coaches that see it. It's their teammates that see it too. So if you see a guy who's definitely like trying to get his, or maybe, you know, he's just really focused on scoring goals, the hope is that your leaders, are saying something to them too. And that's the beauty of fall ball is you can have those conversations, and it doesn't have to be confrontational. You just kind of are asking them like, hey, like, what are your goals? What do you think you're trying to do here? What are you seeing? Like, what do you think your strengths are? How do you think things are going? And I think you just try to have a conversation with them instead of attacking them. Because I don't think coming hot at guys is necessarily the best
So
way.
you're not a hothead coach. You're not going to come after them and get right on them in the field, maybe embarrass them a little. You're more of a standoff. Yeah,
I think guys have behaviors, and you're just trying to figure out like why do you have that behavior? Like, and maybe it's as easy as, well, this is what I've been told I'm supposed to do, or I'm putting pressure on myself to impress you guys, so I feel like I need to score. And if you can get some of that information, then it's like, okay, well, let's talk about what would impress us. If that's what your goal is, like, these are the things that you want to focus on, and I think having those conversations are important. I think most kids are not trying to do things the wrong way. I don't think they're trying to hurt the team. I don't think they're trying to be selfish naturally. I just don't. So you're trying to figure out a way to convey what you're seeing in a way that they're going to understand it. And each guy's different. Each guy's been brought up in a different household. There are certain things that trigger certain things to guys. Some guys you can be a little harder on, some guys you can't. And I think you got to get to know your guys because each guy is different. But there still needs to be accountability. It's just a matter of how you deliver that, because the standard's the standard. But I don't think like the old school, just getting guys' faces, like that's not going to work. You're going to lose your guys at some point.
You would pull a goalie though. If you see the goalie making mistakes and not listening, not doing it, you will pull a goalie in the game if you have to, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I think there's a point in time where, you want to stay with your guy, but if it's just a bad day and you feel like somebody else is just going to help the team get a better result, you got to at least think through that. Goalies are tricky. I find the less
confidence.
I think the less you say to them, the better during the game, and if you are going to say something, it's got to be really measured, because they know the ball's going in. Like, they're feeling it more than anybody else. So it's a matter of like, okay, we all know the ball's going in. Like, where you at? Like, how are you reacting to it? Because if the guy's like, like he's mentally tough, he can dig his way out.
That's a hard job. That's a hard job with a goalie.
It really is. I think it's the same thing with face-off guys. Like,
pull a guy and he doesn't even know how to go into a game, and you might have to pull him for the whole series in the Final Four. Like, what is he doing?
Yeah,
and if he's looking over his shoulder at you, that's a problem.
Look at John, who he's had for the last 5 or 6 years. This guy was great. I was going to say, I mean, we're really interested to see going forward, because much like, look, Notre Dame had to deal with a new goalie after having Enterman for 3 or 4 years, where he was extremely solid, and I'm not saying the kid from Notre Dame did a bad job, because I think he did pretty well, but it's tough stepping into the shoes of a guy who's a 4-year player, a 4-year starter. That's not so easy.
Yeah, we're real fortunate because Brian started almost a whole year. So you get a guy that it's such a unique situation. When Logan tore his ACL, like, Brian, those were his first games, and, kind of learning on the fly. And then, then it's a battle between Brian and Logan for a couple of years, and it was darn close both years. Last year we went down to the last scrimmage, and Brian had done such a good job in the fall, and Logan had surgery, so we weren't just going to hand Logan the job. That's just not how it works here. Like, you got to earn it every year, and we feel like that's good for your culture and it's fair. And Logan won by a nose, but I know Brian was disappointed, but I know he practiced like a pro and was always ready in case something happened. But all that preparation and all that hard work last year is only going to serve him well this year, because he's been practicing like he's going to start every game. So we have a lot of confidence in him, but You nailed it, Smalls. The goalie position is the hardest one. It really is, because they know things aren't going well. So do you take him out? Now all of a sudden, what's he going to be like the next game?
Right.
Do you just need to let him work through it? But is it going on too long? And the rest of the team, all of a sudden, the D guys are trying to do too much because they don't want to give up shots, and now your defense is compromised. That's tricky. It is so tricky.
Let me ask you, Till, so how much
So what
time do you
mistakes
spend
are
with,
you looking
how
to
much do you
overcome?
spend with film with guys? Do you watch a lot of film with guys? I mean, both ways, watching the other team and how you're going to assess them and plan for them, and also film of your team showing them how they might have been able to do something a little better.
Yeah, we love film. We have a certain time allotment that we'll use for it, and then the guys we'll never turn guys down who want to come in and watch more film individually. I think everybody's a little bit different. Some guys can learn watching it. It certainly isn't going to hurt you, but some guys just need to do it. Probably do more, Vinny, like in the fall, watching us, just practice clips, and you get the freshmen in there. Their minds are racing, everything's happening fast, and then you're able to watch the film, and they can see themselves at a macro level. And I think that is a really good teaching tool. And then come springtime, we'll probably do a good mix of us and them getting prepared, letting the guys see personnel, schemes, formations, things like that. It's funny. I think those iPads, the best values during practice, because you can film practice and you can almost get real time with the iPad. And whenever guys come in and come out, let's say you have 5 attackmen that are rotating in, or 4, when the other group comes in, you can grab a guy and literally go over that last play and show him right away, hey, could you be a little higher here? Or, hey, not bad, just turn the corner, just turn your shoulder, whatever it may be. But you can do that right then and there. There's definitely some other guys that I think were using the iPad, a long time ago. For some reason, I am not a very good technology guy, but definitely people love to connect me with the iPad. And I'm so bad with technology, and our guys just laugh about it, because even today, I was trying to do some different things. I had to get Tim Obransky to help me. He's our tech guru, and I'm usually calling him like once a week, like I can't figure this out, and he kind of bails me out. So
You've never dropped it. I've never. You're hugging players during the game. You're holding things. You're like the cricket. You're like Jimmy the cricket. You go like this. You run over here, and you never drop the iPad in 2 years. I've never seen you drop it. You hug players. You kiss players. You jump up and down. That thing is never dropped on the floor.
He's got Velcro
Give
under
you
his
credit.
armpit.
I'm like,
I'm glad I haven't thrown
Velcro
it.
under his armpits.
I'm like Jimmy the cricket. I'm telling you, he moves like this.
That's become a little bit more important with the replay stuff too. The problem is most people, the video you get is the coach's shot, which is really far away. And if you're going to challenge something on video, you better be pretty sure. If not, you're losing a timeout. And you know how those tight games are, especially in the second half of games. Like I'm more willing to take a chance on a replay in the first half than I am the second half.
Now, you're responsible. Am I allowed to bring something up here? Not too bad, but you're responsible for something called Glovegate, right? I'm just kidding, but remember Glovegate?
Oh, Glovegate.
You talk. I'm not killing him. No, the guy. Do you even know what happened? I know what happened.
I think a lot of people think they know what happened, but they really don't.
Can I tell you my version? Because I got it down to a science. I know exactly what happened. They blamed Tillman. Tillman never asked the ref. All Tillman did was he got the ref. What is the rule? That's all he asked. He didn't call a penalty. He didn't do it. The other coach went crazy. I know they're friends, whatever. And that's how the thing became. Am I right?
Yeah, there was no glove check. A couple of things that make it unique, right? Like anybody that has kids or been around kids is they have a strong sense of their surroundings, right? So if you tell your son they got to be home at 10 and down the street Jimmy can stay out till midnight, the guys are pretty aware, like, why does he get to do that? And so our equipment guy does a great job. He's on top of the rules. He's like, listen, everybody's got to wear the same gloves. I'm not really paying attention to what anybody else does, but our kids are not like they are all into gear. They see what everybody's doing. And so during the game, the guys are like, I don't understand. Like, why can they do that? We can't. I thought that was a rule. Well, kind of a tough spot to be in because I'm the chairman of the rules committee. And so what do I do? Do I ask the question because I need clarity? I'm probably going to have a rules committee call and they're probably going to ask me, like, did you say anything to the refs or did you ask them? Did I think it merited like an equipment check? No. Now, if I was going to do that, like the rule is like do it after a goal, take a goal away, and then like that would be smart. Eventually, when like the decision came down, like we had just tied the game, we were winning faceoffs. We had won like the last 6. That would have been a really curious time for me to ask for a glove check, just because at that point, like we were winning faceoffs and we had tied. We were down like 4 goals in that game. Like I could have just said after the goal, I want an equipment check and get the goal taken off. So like that would have been a weird time to use it.
He was wearing a white glove, though. There was part white on the glove.
Is it just for? Is the rule itself just for being uniformity?
So yeah, so the rule, I was on the committee. We changed that rule the next year. It was kind of a silly rule, but it was, anytime you have a rule and some people follow it, some people don't. Like kids just don't like that, right? Like especially like the face-off guys, I think they would like to wear white gloves, because there's some monkey business going on. But we're telling the guys you got to all wear the same thing. And then you have certain gloves, right? We get like a couple different color gloves. Maverick's good to us, but you have certain gloves that like are more comfortable. It's like, well, I don't want to wear those gloves. I got these old school gloves that. So we eventually changed that rule to as long as they're school color gloves, like predominant colors, wear whatever you want. They don't have to all be the same. Right. Kind of a silly rule, but the problem with the rule is like, again, anytime like you tell somebody you got to do this and then like other kids aren't, there's always like a little bit of that, but that like people kind of wanted to make that out to be something that like didn't really happen. Listen, I've called stick checks. I've done like maybe 2 of those. We did it against Princeton a couple of years ago. A guy won the faceoff, came all the way down. We checked the stick 3 times. It wouldn't come out. He scored. And the coaches, we kind of all looked at each other and we're like, well, it gave him an advantage. Like all they can do is like say it's fine. But if they're gaining an advantage and they scored a goal that they shouldn't have, and they're not playing by the same rules, like it's not really fair to our kids.
Do they take the goals away, Sean? Did they take them?
On that one? They did, yeah.
Wow.
Were you on the team? Were you? I think you got the sailing shoe hat on right now. Is that the sailing shoe hat?
I do have the sailing shoe on.
Were you on the sailing shoe team when Rusty Red called the stick check on Brett Rothfuss?
Yeah.
Oh, they went crazy on that one. I remember Jerry Byrne went wild on that one. Schmoes, God bless him, Schmoes called that one.
Well, what they should have just done is like, like, all right, well,
he could have put 2 gallons of milk in that stick. Who are you kidding?
I think at the end of the day, like who actually had a legal stick on that field? I don't think many.
I did. I always play with a legal stick.
That's a good point.
By the rules.
Well, that was the old timers league. No, that was an older league. Right?
It's like, like mouthpieces, bag, like, like you could go down the 1,000 rules on Lake Placid, but boy, there were some guys that were hot. I think like most of us, once you leave Lake Placid, you kind of forgot about it. You enjoy the great time up there, being around great people, and you just look forward to next year and kind of is what it is, right?
Yeah. Love it.
Let me ask you.
That's unbelievable.
John,
I tell you, this is some year. I'm excited.
I had this conversation a few times with different guys. We watch a lot of the games at Hofstra, and we sit up in the suites, and like, I always felt like, the one thing is holding an iPad and what you see from that. But I always felt like the next step for lacrosse was like what they do in football, have a couple assistant coaches up in the box with headsets to the coach, because you do get a really different vantage point where you say, well, they're pressing us down here on a
Yeah,
10-on ride.
that's
We can
true.
go over the top. Sometimes you can't see that from the field. But a guy, we see it from the box. And, if I could call it down and say, hey, listen, just look for the long pass to the far corner. They're not even covering that guy or something. And I had talked to Richie Moran about that once, because he said there was talk about he wanted to do that. But they said not all the schools were capable, so they didn't want certain schools to have an advantage by having a guy up there, and they couldn't. But to me, I think that's a big plus for coaches down on the sideline, like in football, where guys up top sending down. I mean, look, NFL, basically every offensive coordinator is calling the plays from the booth at this point, because they see it better.
I personally love that vantage point. I like being up high. I like seeing everything. Like if, back when we could live scout, like I'd rather be higher up to see all of that. Because a lot of times when you get film, you can't see the back end of what's going on. You only see kind of that 6-on-6. So if there's full field, like 10-man, like what's the goalie doing? What are the D guys doing? To your point, like, are the corners open? So I do think, like with the iPad, that's one thing that, especially if you're zoomed out, you get a little better perspective. I think, especially when the ball is, if you're on one side, the long end, because it's really hard to tell kind of like on the other side of the field, where'd that shot, was he at 10 yards? Was he at like 14
Right.
yards? Was there a good
Right.
angle there? So it's hard to see, but I'm with you. If it wasn't for the player interaction and being able to interact with guys and helping them with things, just watching the game, I love the vantage point being up higher for sure.
Yeah.
John, these coaches, I was thinking the other day, I'm not changing, I'm jumping in here, sorry. So I was thinking the other day how fortunate we are, yourself, Vinny, all you guys, to look at all these coaches in the game. You as a Maryland, the Syracuse, the Princeton, the Georgetown, Cornell. What a time we're living in for lacrosse. All these guys were such great players, and now they're coaching. To me, I was thinking there's so many great areas, but as far as coaching and so many guys that we know, this is the most unbelievable era for kids to play with these coaches. Whether you play for Gary Gate yourself, the Georgetown coach is making a name. It's unbelievable. It's really an unbelievable coach. I don't know if we'll ever see something like this again. I'm sure we will, but it's so much little parody and fun for these kids to play. I mean, who do you play for? You sit down at the game.
John, how do you feel? I know Benson has done a great job up at Providence, right? When you start to see some of the guys that, have been with you and then have their own success, it's got to feel pretty good.
You build such good relationships with those guys. So, you're wishing them good luck each week, and you're psyched for them when they win. And when they lose, you kind of, we all go through it. You kind of pick each other up and support each other. But it's really cool. Again, there's a reason why teams are successful. You have great staffs, great players. Like as a head coach, as you guys know, you're one person. Like you only do your part, and your part isn't enough to do it all. There's no way. And if you don't have good assistants, good players, you're going to be pretty limited. So Bobby was great, even though he was with us just for a couple of years. Actually was texting with him yesterday, and they're getting started. He's fired up, and just great guy. Carol Kennedy, who was with us, he's up there too, and Kevin Warren and Ryan Moran. You look at all these guys that have been with us. It's just fun to see those guys, and you're psyched for their success. And I think, to your point, Smalls, not only are there great head coaches, these young assistant coaches are rock stars.
It's amazing.
They are so good. These offense coordinators, defense coordinators, the stuff people are doing, the way they're doing it, the way they interact with
Jamali, Joe Bresci. These are like iconic names in the sport. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. It's amazing. It really is, man. When you look back, I look at all these guys that are coaching. It's just an amazing time. Really?
And
Well,
these young
there are
bucks are
many
great. Like you got all these young guys with good enthusiasm, and I just
there are many old school guys that really did more with less when you think about it, though, too. I mean, some of these guys, they didn't have all the advantages of the filming and the scouting ability and all of that. And the Henry Ciccaronis and, Richie Morans and Dick Adele and,
Dave Urich.
Beardmore.
Right, Dick
These guys
Adele.
were phenomenal. Jack Emma, he was innovative. These guys, it's like anything in life. Things have progressed, and it all looks better. But I always try to say to guys, the more things change, the more they stay the same. The game is still the game. The give and go, the ground balls, the communication, the slides on defense. That's a constant, whether you're 10 years ago, 20 years ago, or 30 years ago.
yeah, ball movement, like sharing the ball, good spacing, dodging hard, good inside action, finishing, you know, like stuff like that never goes out of style.
Right.
So I was gonna, one of the things I don't know that people know is you did play indoor after you finished school. How many years of indoor did you play?
I think 3 years with Baltimore, and then I think they moved to Pittsburgh for a year. And I just, at that point, it was getting harder and harder, to try to, it's one thing to drive to Baltimore. It's another thing, to have a game on the weekend and at Navy and then try to get to Pittsburgh on Friday and Saturday. So they left and then they came back to Washington and I did a year there. But even with, the older you get coaching wise, the harder it is to get to all the practices and obviously get to all the games, especially if you got Friday night games and Saturday games, the logistics get a little harder. So I was psyched for those 3 years. I thought it was a lot of fun. The indoor game was great. Met a lot of great guys. Competition was fun. I actually think the box game was great because so much of, you look at college lacrosse right now, you look at the influence of box over the last 10 years, I'm thankful for that experience just because of all the things like that you learned just doing it, I know just playing the 2-man games, like how slick those guys were and grabbing you and pushing off and running through the crease and popping your head off and going in the corner and picking up ground balls. Like that's about the best thing I could do to try to help was just try to get ground balls, get to somebody and get the heck off the, get to the sideline.
But you had a different type of stick handling. For me, I played a very long time, as you know, but I also feel like it made me such a better player for field lacrosse and in general, both games. It just elevates any lacrosse player's game. I just think, and even from the defensive point, stick handling, picking up balls in tough places, that translates to when you get a pole in your hand and go outside, same kind of battles. I just think it's something that every kid should do if they can do it.
I got a question from a fan when you guys are ready.
Go ahead, Smalls. Go ahead.
All right, we're ready. Go ahead.
Tillman, John, don't answer it first. You may know what the question is. This is more for Vinny and Steven first. See if they know. John, you go second. You chime in. Okay. Let me see. Who was the first ever Maryland Lacrosse Dick Adele Big Man Award winner?
Oh, wow.
I'll let you guys answer that first. You two guys at the bottom.
It was called the Dick Adele what?
The first ever Maryland Lacrosse
Big Man
Award.
Big Man Award winner? Wow.
The first ever.
Wow.
Don't answer, John. Are you stumped, John, or you know?
When they started it, this is a tough question because how long is it? Who instituted I don't think he would have done it himself. So you got to go past when he was the coach. So it was either when Cottle is the coach or when John is the coach.
No, but I'm wondering, who's eligible for it?
I'll give you. All right, I'll give you.
Is it limited?
Let me give you a little hint. He's on to something. Steven's on to something.
Is it limited to Maryland players?
Guys on the team, I imagine.
Is it for guys on the team, John?
Yeah, on the
Big
team.
Man Award?
Yes.
On the team.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, it's on the team.
basically every year at our banquet we give out the Big Man Award in honor of Coach Adele. So that was there before I got here. So if that helps you,
Oh, that helps. That's a
I'm going to
hint.
say, I'm
See,
going to give you my
that's a little
guess. You
hint.
ready?
So you
My
gotta-
guess is
Let me give it to Vinny. Let me read.
All right,
One
you go
second.
first.
Let me read it. And you might get it. Just listen. The first ever Maryland Lacrosse Dick Adele Big Man Award. That's exactly what it's
Okay,
called.
Okay.
I
To
got
the
my
team.
guess.
Who's your guess?
Quotation marks. This guy knew what he
I got
was
my
doing.
guess.
What's
I'm
your
going to
guess?
say the first Dick Adele. I'm going to go with Joe Walters.
Oh, I was going to pick the same guy.
No. I'm going to say no. Steven, you got a
I was
shot.
going to say Joe Walters. I was going to say Joe Walters. Is who I was going to say.
Let me ask you a question. I won't put you on the spot. Did you forget who it was, John?
I mean, that started before, so I don't even have I'd have to go back to our archives to kind of go year by year and figure out who won
But
it.
hold on a second. Let me give you a hint. You okay, hold on. You started coaching in 2011, is that true? With
Yeah.
The spring of 2011. Yep.
okay, so that you started with 2011. When did you win your first national championship with Maryland?
17.
So 2017. Okay.
So who's the guy? That's he goes
Thomas O'Connell.
Oh,
Could it
he was
be?
the very first one? No, he couldn't be.
Wait, hold on. Wait, hold on.
I don't think he's the first.
Well, he's very rarely wrong. His father,
Maybe he was.
his
I
father
thought-
sent this in. Could it not be, Vinny? Do the math. He's never really.
No,
Listen, I don't call him bobblehead for nothing. I love it, and they
You're
love him.
asking a question that we have no idea when they even instituted the award. I have no idea. Did they start it when Dick Adele retired?
Well,
Or did
John
they start
said
it?
happened before him.
They started it. If it was Thomas, they would have started it probably 15 years after Dick Adele coached, right? How many years would that have been after Dick Adele retired?
Yeah, probably like that. Yeah,
So how would we be
Yeah.
able to guess that? That's right.
he knows it. They know it's him because okay. Now let me just say something. Hold on a second. Let me just say something to you. I actually have the award. I have it. I have the award.
They gave it to you.
If I could send it to you. Do you remember what the award was? Oh, Jesus, Mary. He always does it to me. See what he does? Let me see if I can find it. Hold on, guys. Let me see if I can.
He's always got to sidetrack everything. Here we go. Here we go.
Oh my God!
All right, go ahead with the thing. I'll find it. Let's move on. But it was Thomas O'Connell that got the question.
That might be literally the worst trivia question I've ever heard delivered, ever.
Hold on.
What?
Here it is.
Tills, do you remember the
on.
last year Adele coached?
Here it is. I got it. Tills, stop for a second. Can somebody see? Does that look familiar, Tills?
Thomas.
Yeah,
O'Connell,
yep,
the big
yep.
man.
Hold on,
What's the year?
I don't know how to read, guys.
2019. Okay, but that wasn't
Tom-
the first. That definitely
What
wasn't.
does it say? Is it the first?
I don't think that was the first year, but I do think Thomas was a worthy recipient for sure. Thomas did a lot of great stuff for us on and off the field. Big man would have loved Thomas. That's for sure. That's why Thomas will be a great coach. He gets it.
Yeah.
He gets it.
Now, the other question they had, when was the last time you took a player from Chaminade?
The last time?
And why don't you, Johnny? I'm Mr. Chaminade.
Hey, listen, we'll keep knocking on the door.
If I could, yeah.
We'll keep
That's
knocking
right.
on the door. Some great players, man. We've
They
certainly
got
tried.
some kids coming. They got some good kids coming.
Yeah, we'll keep trying for sure. That place puts out great players. Those guys are tough, smart, well coached. So we'll keep trying. The guys we've gotten, we've absolutely loved. Sometimes it's a little bit of timing. Obviously, those guys have gone to a lot of other places and done really, really well.
The word on the street is you stole that kid from St. Anthony's. The kid, what's that kid's name? Oh man, they're belly aching. How did he get to Maryland? That's what they're saying.
Well, anybody wants to go to Maryland. Wouldn't you want to go to Maryland and be coached by this guy? I'd want to be coached by this guy.
Now, later in his career, not early in his career.
Let's go. We'll take all three of you guys for the spring. First meeting's tomorrow.
Eligibility.
Oh,
Smalley's got the best.
Smalley's
got the best winning percentage of anybody. He's undefeated. 3 years.
Yeah. Let's go. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
It's going to be fun, man. Yeah, it's definitely going to be fun.
Well, we'll have to pick a game. We're going to have to pick a game and figure when to get down again this year.
Are you going to Syracuse to play in Syracuse? Is that true?
We are, yep.
You never played there before, did you?
No,
no, we went up a couple years ago. We've been going off and on with them. We were there in 24, 22.
Why'd you pick a game? You were smart to pick that game in February to go there. You're going to be playing indoors.
We'll be indoors. Last year we were down at Maryland. I think most of us, most the ACCs and most conferences too, right? The back end of the season's mostly league games. So if you want to do any of those crossovers or out of leagues, which I think some of the battles that people are playing, I think, Syracuse schedule looks really tough. Like you can definitely, get some great games in to get ready for your league for sure.
Awesome. Look out for my man Rooney. He's coming there too. I work out with his father in the gym. Great guy.
Great guy.
Couldn't give me any better. Yeah, you got an Irishman there.
Good people.
So are we getting into closing down here with the?
Yeah, we got. Listen, the guy's got to get. He's got his big day. He's starting his season. He's ready to go. You got anything else, Vin?
No.
What is your favorite snack? What do you like at night to eat?
Give you a snack.
Snack wise, you know what? There's these dots. I'm a dots fan. You guys ever have dots?
Your old time. Where do you get them? Let me see dots. I want to.
Yeah, I got dots, and there's also if you ever fly Southwest, they have Maui Monk, like a version. They're the best. I'm telling you.
And what's your go-to ice cream flavor when you're down and out?
Vanilla.
Oh, just plain.
It's my personality.
I thought you were going to say
boring personality.
You have some of those Joe Corello non-ice creams. Whatever that is. It's like yogurt pudding that he calls ice cream.
Those are inside jokes.
John, there's some rumors.
I'll say this though, the guy looks phenomenal. So whatever he's doing is working, but we were not buying that was ice cream.
The best of that whole story was when we're out on the deck and Joe is like dishing this out and he's having that and everybody's like, they're like leaving it. And then Pat McCabe gives me a ride back. He goes, "Let's stop at Ben and Jerry's." I got the real ice cream.
Joe Ducks.
I tell you, Lake Placid is the best week of the year. And that night at our place is one of the best nights of the year. Hands down.
There's no doubt that's a highlight.
I got somebody sent me. This is a very interesting thing. See, open up your eyes. You got good eyes, guys. Pretty cool. I'm going to show you something that I had made when I was coming back to the game.
Yeah.
That's a great
shirt. A little pious, Smalls.
No doubt.
Shirt.
Great to be here.
I have that shirt for sure.
The Richie Moran book.
I'll tell you one last story, Johnny. I got a call about Coach Moran early morning one time. He had been sick, not thinking it would be Coach, and he doesn't barely know me. But Vinny had said to me, "Smalls, can you send him a package?" So about 7 weeks before he had passed away, I sent him a package. It was a nice hat. It was a green sweater. Sent something for his wife. Vinny had said that he meant so much to Vinny. Him and Vinny would speak on the phone. Vinny would tell me these stories, and it was just so iconic. I had lost my father 5 years ago, so I've been a little lost without Dad. So I remember getting this call at about just a little after 6 in the morning. We never ran. He was calling me at 6 in the morning. It was a number I never read, and it was Coach Moran. speaking to me and thanking me for the gifts I had sent him. And I, of course, added Vinny's up, whatever he was telling me. Then I was talking about Shyamalan with my dad. He had knew my dad. I remembered my dad and stuff. And just to have that phone call, and I never knew the guy great like these guys. I was like, here's a guy who's going to be passing on soon, doesn't feel good. He had time to call me on the phone and nobody in life just to say thank you for the gift. And so that's why I think you have such a special gift. A lot of these guys from Cornell and the stuff that you learned, and you guys, I see it in you too. You have something that a lot of Cornell people have. Vinny has it. Steven has it. You guys are humble to the sport. And being humble to the sport is a big part of why I believe you guys can grow from that. And having that education and playing for him is just iconic. And I remember talking, I got off the phone, and I sat there for about a half hour, 45 minutes, thinking of my father, and I'm thinking to myself, it was an amazing time. A guy could call me, something like that. That guy is just, I have nothing to say, but just an amazing dude in life. I was fortunate to even get a phone call 6 weeks before he passed away. That's crazy. Remember I told you, Vin? I couldn't believe it.
By the way,
normally I would never pick up, and I just picked
Richie
up.
Moran just got into the Elmont Hall of Fame, where he coached basketball. And he took a team that,
no way.
A team that was like 2-15 and turned it around to like 18-2 in 1 year. And he, in the book Julius Erving wrote, he beat Julius Erving's Roosevelt High School basketball team both years, his junior and senior year. And Julius Erving even mentioned, he said in the book, said, we couldn't beat this team from Elmont the way they defended me. They did like a 1-1 against me or something. And they shut Dr. J down, and they beat him twice.
There was just something about that guy. Like whether it was the things he did, said, the way he interacted with people, his energy, his gratefulness, was mentioned before, his charisma, like that guy was just so unique. And again, the biggest thing you had to do was pay attention. And because there was a lot you can learn if you just, kind of kept your eyes open and your ears open. And as much as you learn a lot in classes and in high school and college, a lot of times the coaches, you're spending so much more time with them semester after semester, when it comes to working with people and just looking at things the right way. Like, man, there's so much you can learn. And man, I've been between Coach Moran and Coach Mead and Jeff Long, like all these just awesome guys. The biggest thing I just needed to do was just pay attention, because if you did, you were going to learn a ton. And, you find yourself like learning from all those people. And, it's like, man, it's like getting a PhD from all these really great teachers, and you just keep passing on all the things you learned from them. And hopefully your kids do. And then they pass them on and they pass them on. And that's, I think, to your point, Smalls, that's the beauty of the game. You meet all these great people, and they all got a lot to offer. And if you just pay attention, there's a lot of things you can learn and pass on to everybody else. And that's the beauty of the game.
It was my dream to go to Cornell. It wasn't meant to be, right, Benny? What a school. So many guys. The Goldstein, he has a son, Goldstein. I might have eligibility.
Portal.
Goldstein has a son in high school right now. His name is Tommy Boy, a.k.a. the Mouse. He's going to be going in another year to Cornell with this guy named Vino's son. Vino has a son, and they're going to be roommates together. I thought that was pretty cool like that. We all went out to dinner. We went to the in St. John's game. I took them all to the game and everything last week.
Vino is the best. He's like
Vino, what a great guy.
He's such a great human being. Like,
it's unbelievable. He's a big executive. Just a regular Joe Schmo.
The best.
Such a nice guy. Yeah, he came to dinner. We had a nice dinner.
Just great energy. Just the best. Like, you're not going to find a better guy.
He was a Cornell graduate, but he's a lot younger than you guys. He's I think his early 50s, maybe. 52, maybe, like that. I think he's 52.
He was a couple of years behind me. Great guy, great teammate. No different now. Just a great human being. Not surprised he is crushing it, but you'd never know. He's just a regular guy, like humble, the best. Loves the sport. Like just.
They invited us to the Knick game. They went to the Knick game, and Brunson, his client, they were down. They were talking to Brunson's father about playing lacrosse. Timmy Goldstein went with him, Liz Rock, Ryan Goldstein, and Tommy Goldstein. They were talking to the father. They were talking about lacrosse and stuff like that. The father's a great guy. What a nice guy, like that. So, all good, guys.
We gotta wrap it up. Tills,
shout out.
I appreciate you coming out with us. The impact, talking about Richie Moran having that impact on you. Trust me, you're having that impact on a lot of young men, a lot of young coaches, a lot of young players. I can see it when I watch how the team interacts with you and some of your players that I've spoken to, many of them over various ages, and the love and the admiration they have for what you've done for them and being in that culture, what it's done for them, and they pass it on. And that's the beauty of our game. Everybody pays it forward and the game spreads and the joy spreads. And it's why we do this. We still fool around doing this because we want people to know things about you that maybe they didn't know and learn different aspects and remember the old times and those old wars. And it gives a better appreciation of the whole game. But again, I wish you the best of luck. We're going to come out and see you at a game for sure. I definitely want to come. Maybe we'll go to when you come up to Princeton, or definitely want to get down to Maryland. At least we'll work out a schedule so we get there. But, I want to wish you the best of luck. I know you're going to have a grind, and I know you're going to do terrific. And we're
going to bring a backpack for you. It's going to have all dots in there. A backpack of dots. When I go to the suite, I'm going to have dots all over.
Are dots good?
And the staff is going to go, what the freak's going to come in with the helmet with a backpack of dots.
Dots are good, man. I'm telling you.
Oh, man.
That's what we've been to lately.
Johnny, we usually do a shout out. It could be one person to find
shout outs. Exactly.
I'm telling him how to do it, though. He usually does it, but I finally learned something. So we do a shout out. It could be anybody from 1 to 5 people, whatever you want to shout out or whatever. You could probably go last. Think about who you want to give a shout out to. But we'll give it to the Vince Sabrato or Steven.
I didn't really think about a shout out today.
Steve, you go.
You go first, Smalls, because
I'll go first.
Think about it fast.
My shout out is always to my mother and father for buying me that lacrosse stick that they could barely afford in 1978. It was a wooden stick. Anyway, I want to shout out to Goldstein, Liz Rock, and my new friend Vino. Vino! How do you spell it? Venno? Vino's the man. And his son, and Ryan Goldstein. All right, go ahead, Steven.
Okay, I'm gonna go outside the box. I'm gonna go with Tillman's opponents, but from a Maryland
That's nasty, Steven.
Chris Connor from Maryland. I'm gonna give the shout out to Chris Connor, whose 2 sons who had great careers at Colgate and now are at Georgetown, and so he's a Maryland man, Chris Connor. So I'm gonna give my shout out to Chris Connor.
I got a shout out. You ready, Smalls?
I give you 2.
I just need one. Vince? My shout out is to the attendant. My shout out is to the attendant at women's locker room at Life.
He's out. He's gone. We missed his shout out. So let's
go. Is he
really
out?
He is on. He's out. His phone must have died. Something died. So, John, who do you got? Who's your shout out?
Who's my shout out? I'll get all our current former players, all our former current coaches. Appreciate those guys so much. My individual shout out will be to my man Scotty Burnham and his family.
Oh, yeah.
We lost Big Red, who was just one of the great personalities in the game, and just found out he lost his mom, who's just a wonderful person. So thinking about Scotty and his family, all they've been going through. Again, that family in Lacrosse kind of synonymous for lacrosse and just great people in the game. So thinking about him, I was talking to him tonight, and he kind of mentioned you as well, Stevie, just how much he, enjoyed like being with you, and you're his favorite guy.
Yeah.
He's like Stevie's got the best stories. That's my guy.
All the Burnhams were just aces, they're all just good people. There's a good people to be around, Scotty's great, and Red was, forget it, amazing.
Who's your shout out?
He's awesome.
Yeah.
Amazing family.
I was teasing you. I was saying my shout out was to the woman, the ladies attendant at Lifetime Gym.
Oh, I heard. Oh, that would be the best.
Get him back on. Get him back on. Can you get him on?
Get back on. But we'll give him his shout out. His shout out is for the ladies attendant at the Lifetime Gym, where Smalley got kicked out and got a lifetime ban at Lifetime Gym for walking into the ladies' room by accident.
Hold on, John. And showering. I had no idea.
In the ladies' locker room. Oh boy.
The name of the place is Lifetime.
That's a way to end an episode.
Well, Johnny, good to see you, and it's gonna be a great year, great season.
We're gonna play our closing music, and just hang on 1 second, John, and we'll sign off.
Sounds good.
You can dance a little, whatever you want, Johnny. You can do your thing.